This is a table relevant to our days, which are called the days of counting Sfirat HaOmer. Sfirat HaOmer, in fact, is written here, Beit Sfirat HaOmer, in the days of counting the Omer, and the Omer comes here, the could not come in one long sentence. So the best meaning of the Torah of Sfirat, the counting of Omer, is this year. Definitely, we are now in the year 5782, Tafshin Pei Bet, in fact, it's mid Tafshin Pei Bet. And as it is known, this is sabbatical and very important year, starting with wars, but finishes with Messiah. And we clearly saw that the great tzaddik, Rab Chaim Kanievsky Zatzal, said to people who brought him a book of the laws of the sabbatical year, that he promises that Messiah will come in the end of this year. In fact, the Gemara, the Talmud says in 97a in Sanhedrin, that's the end of this year, but apparently we need some merits, maybe tshuva, repentance, which comes here. We see just now clearly what comes here. But before seeing the table properly, there is very important knowledge that one should know about Judaism. There is a book called A Key to Kabbalah Theory, which says the following: Gematria. It says the Gematria numerical value of the Hebrew word Israel is 541. Yeah, you can see Yud is 10, 300, Shin, Resh, which is exactly the same numerical value of Or, light, or, and Chosher, darkness, which come to the same number. And this comes from the book of the Key to Kabbalah Theory. Brings an amazing book. And the explanation is because the history of Jewish people, as we see just now, unfortunately, either it is light or darkness. Dark or the light, yeah, because Jews are under the leadership, the divine providence, and their situation depends on keeping the Torah. When they keep the Torah, the Sabbath, then it's light to themselves and to the whole world. If not, it's darkness. So for this, let us see events which happened to Jews during those days which are the days from after Passover to Shavuot, when we got the Torah. Very, very important days is why we count them, connecting with spheres. In fact, worthwhile putting in YouTube lecture Glazerson on counting the Omer. An Omer lecture on the Omer, and we see how much is behind those days, that each day that we are counting in very significant. So let us see events which happened during the Omer from the 5th, really, till the 20th. I mean, this is a month of Iyar, which is all of these months in the counting of the Omer. So definitely it goes to the date, not according to the events. So the 5th of Iyar, 1948, is a declaration of independence on Friday. Yeah, this is what happened. Going to the 8th of Iyar, no, long time ago, Psalm 96, Rhineland massacre of the First Crusade begin. Jewish communities, most notably in Rhineland town of Worms and Mainz, were destroyed and killed 11 of year, 1881, pogroms in Vasilko and Konotop. No, massacres. No. Then, 15th of year, Jews expelled from Ukraine. No. Remember Ukraine? What they did to Jews, how cruel they were. Some say even worse than the Nazis. Then, on the 16th of the year, the numerable Jews, laws depriving Jews the right citizenship were passed by the government of the Nazi Germany in 1935. 18th of year, on 20 a plague which killed 24 of Rabbi Akiva disciples. See, that's the reason not to learn for it. Year 18, the same days, the 23rd day of the Omer count, Rabbi Shimon gathered his disciples and revealed many of the deepest secrets of the divine wisdom and instructed them to mark the date as the day of my joy. 20th of year, 12,088, 13 Torah Jews burned at the stake by the Inquisition. So it is not that many more, but this one was quite famous. 21st of year, Nazis began the deportation of Hungarian Jews to the Auschwitz concentrating camp. Adolf Eichmann personally oversaw the following day the start of the extermination process. 8 days later, an estimated 100,000 had been murdered. Frightening. 23rd of year, 1096, massacre of 800 Jews in Worms, Germany. This day was observed as a day of communal fasting in Worms for centuries to come. 25th of year, 1355, Toledo massacre. 1,200 Jews massacred by an attack led by Henry II of Prussia during a civil war of the Acarinite Judaea of Toledo. Now comes the great light. 28th of year, 1967, Jerusalem conquered during the Six-Day War. The day is marked in Israel's Jerusalem Day, but definitely this was a Six-Day War, which brought many, many parts of Israel back to them as the owner of the whole land. God promised it. No, they have to believe in the Torah for this. So we started with the 5th of year, all this, when the Israeli Declaration of Independence on Friday, and then came to the year when got Jerusalem back and all the others, Samaria, all the other places, we got Judah and Samaria, and everything which unfortunately we lost came back, not yet completely, but it will come. So let us see now this table, very significant table, and what we were looking about these days of the Omer, maybe some indication what can be during these very sensitive days. So the first thing what I looked for was the best meaning of the Torah of counting of the Omer, which in Hebrew is Sefirat Omer, and this year 782, sabbatical year. So we looked, the first thing, all of it appears in one book. You can see Dalet is the first book, Numbers, and the verses from 11 to 36, and 2 verses, I think maybe 2 verses of Deuteronomy, but basically all of it in Numbers. So what we have here more to teach us. So the first thing to teach us that we are still in danger from Iran. You can see Iran, we see later on the full pictures, but Iran And who is in Iran? The Haman of today, Hamanai. You can see Hamanai. The same Haman, our rabbis tell us that the letters Haman represent evil decrees and really strong decrees, man. So Haman basically and Hamanai both the same, want to exterminate the Jewish people like we saw in the past. In the days of the Omer, no autotos are going to get the bomb ready, and how we know, 100,000 missiles, rockets, the north of south of Israel, and ballistic missiles in Yemen, Houthis, which can reach any point in Israel. So, unfortunately, exactly the same situation we had in the past with Haman, and we had, as we saw, many troubles to Jews. So, this, unfortunately, we can see the coming the Amalekite. Amalekite are all those nations who want to, unfortunately, to wipe out Israel, like Iran say clearly, this is their purpose. This is why they're doing the bomb, they're doing everything to eradicate Israel, the Jews, unbelievable, exactly like the past. Then, what more we have here? The troubles that they are doing, terror, all these terror attacks that they are doing and pushing the Patach and everybody. So, looking really more into this, they believe also positive, as we saw that during these years, we got Israel, we got Jerusalem and Judah and Samaria. So we need more. We need Ben David to come. Unbelievable. You have here Ben David, son of David, and here you have Ben Ishai, son of Jesse. Very rare that I found those two names, son of Jesse and son of David, coming. And hoping that they will eradicate the enemies of Israel, which the main one is jihad, jihad, really a war. For them is a holy word, jihad. And they are pushing the Hamas and everybody, to fight Israel. And Adam today, we can see already Russia and so on, are supporting the Palestinians and not simple at all the situation. So, as we said, light, you have the light in, and David, Moses, and Elijah, they will call the Messiah. We know Moses is the same Gematria Shiloh. Will come with Ben David, this, and eradicate and exterminate or take away all those enemies of Israel, the jihad, Iran, and those terrorists, But Teshuvah, repentance, this is the most important. We are waiting for Messiah. Many people say, the Messiah will come. Very nice. But you know that Messiah will come. There is a beautiful parable in the Talmud about people who are waiting for the Messiah, to whom they are compared. So they say they are compared to a cook, who says in the morning, cuckoo, when the light comes, and the bat who can see only in the night. So, says the Talmud, this is exactly people who believe, keep the Torah, and have the vessels, so they will end when the light will come. Oh, the cuckoo, they will be so happy to see the light, to see beautiful view all around. But what happened to the bat? He cannot look. He cannot see light. Only in the night he is living. The same thing, those people living only in the night, only sinning and doing everything, unfortunately, morality and so on. So when the light will come, the eyes will not be able to see anything. It's a frightening example, but this is the truth. So this is why Shuvah is so important. So as I said, really telling us about the time that we are now, and if you follow the news in Israel, not similar at all, Hamas and Iran, they are doing, preparing, things. So we wait for Ben Yosef, Messiah, son of Jesse, from Joseph. He will come before son of Jesse. He will pave the way for Messiah by fighting and eradicating the enemies of Israel. So as I said, we are a very significant time that from one side you have the darkness of the Hamas, as you can see, Hamas, Fatah, PLO, and Iran, Iran, all of these people is Edom, all right? And, the center, Ramanai, so all definitely very, very dangerous situation is. So the darkness is strong, hoping there's a light. So hoping like it was in the history, okay, a lot of darkness, but also light. Jerusalem, Israel got back. We are still need more light. But amazingly was a book which called Mafchar LeTorat HaKabbalah in Hebrew, which is key to Kabbalah theory, tells us how much is behind the Gematria. Because Jewish history is not normal history. Why? Because Israel is not normal people. They are chosen by God and they are led by God. And their existence depends when they keep the Torah, there is light. If not, that is terrible darkness. And we saw it. We saw it all over history, and also we see it, unfortunately, the days that we are in. So important days that we are in, counting of the Omer, I very much recommend that you will listen to my long lecture on the Omer on YouTube. You put Glazerson lecture, Omer, and you will see how precious are these days and why we are counting them, because this is a way to come to acceptance of the Torah and to get hoping Messiah, son of Jesse, son of Joseph, will come, will bring happiness and joy to Israel and to the whole world.